participants are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Thai Talks. We are very happy to see 500 people attending and join the call already. We're just about to begin, but just before going there, I'd like to tell you that this education sector Thai Talk is also being streamed live on our Thai Hyderabad Facebook live as well as the YouTube live for you. So thank you so much for joining in our numbers. Thai Talks is a series of webinars we've been doing since 23rd of March, just a day or two before the lockdown started. And today, this is the 9th in our series. We are very happy that each webinar we're getting in excess of 600 to 800 attendees. This one is very well subscribed, more than 2,500 registrations. We thank you for keeping your faith in us for the topics that we bring and also the interest in the Thai Talk. So quickly, for all the attendees, all through the webinar, you will be muted. Should you have any questions for the attention of the moderator, please type it in the questions window on your panel, and the moderator will ask the panelists as appropriate. And in case if you are having any troubles with audio connections or other related internet troubles, please check your connection or seek the help of organizer by messaging your organizer there. With that behind us, I'd like to introduce Thai Hyderabad very quickly. We have 2 decades of standing in Hyderabad, and Thai, which is called as the Indus Entrepreneurs, is a global body of entrepreneurs who have started this in 1992 in the Silicon Valley. The charter members who are willing or volunteering to support new and young entrepreneurs. These are the people who come, mentor, and guide and educate all the new entrepreneurs. Today we call them startups. We have a huge history and a large membership in Hyderabad as well. So Thai Hyderabad and Thai education is a very important mission for all of us to foster entrepreneurial mindset in students from a very early stage. We have 2 very popular and successful initiatives here. Thai Young Entrepreneurs, we help high school students get introduced to entrepreneurship and inculcate the entrepreneurial mindset in them. We have already completed 10 editions of TIE. We impact hundreds of students every year. And the other program that we conduct for students is the Thai Grad. And Thai Grad is focused for the college students. And this is run by practicing entrepreneurs who mentor teams, and they're dedicated mentors for college. And this program in the last 3 years had grown more than 300%, both in terms of the number of colleges we had. Today we are having about 26 plus colleges signed up in Thai Grad, and we impact around 6,000 plus students. The Vishnu Group, chairman of the group, is in our panel today. They support Thai Grad, and also the Telangana government supports Thai Grad in a very big way. You'll hear about it in a minute. And this program, Thai Grad, is also been the best support for young entrepreneurs program by Thai Hyderabad. We got a global award last year from the Thai Global. But that said, we'll jump into the topic. Today is the first session in education space, and we have a very interesting topic and impressive panelists lined up for you. The moderator of this session is going to be Mr. Ananth, who is Thai life member. He's also the chairman of SkillPro. He's a computer science postgrad and an MBA from Stanford University. He's a very active Thai mentor. He's into e-learning space, the LMS, and he also runs his own venture initiative called Focus Ventures, which mentors and invests in early stage startups. So over to you, Mr. Ananth. Please take it away from here.
Thank you, Fanny. Appreciate. First of all, welcome all the panel members. Thank you for taking time to be here. Welcome all the attendees. I hope that we'll be able to talk about some of the topics that you're interested in listening to and address some of your questions, or at least give thoughts and perspectives from each of the panelists. Our topic for today is transformation of education and role of e-learning. I think that the COVID has given us a completely new world to work with. I think I look at the kind of impact it has had on education. Of course, schools and colleges are closed. There's no visibility to when they will resume. Exam schedules are not announced yet. And in between all of this, if you look at the size of the problem, 50% of India is under 25 years. So in some form of learning and education is going on there. 29% of them are under 14, which means active schooling is happening there. 29%, 3 billion people, there's a lot of people. So 250 million people going to schools. More than 40,000 universities, colleges, and 1,000 universities, more than 40 million going to college for higher studies. And then if you look at the education sector, which is more than $100 billion in India as of last year. And I think all of that is kind of come to a standstill. While there's a lot of efforts to revive it, I hope we can talk a lot more about how the new normal will work and what are the things that each of us as schools, as students, as parents should be thinking about in the years to come forward. I would like to first of all introduce the panel members. Again, thank you for joining us. Our Mr. Mittal, IAS officer. He is from the 1996 batch. And he has served in several roles from IIT Delhi, served in several roles, right from Visakhapatnam Municipal Corporation to more recently Municipal Administration and Urban Development for the state. He's also been Secretary of Finance. Over the last 2 years, he's working as Commissioner of Collegiate Education and Technical Education. Right. One of the things that he's looking at is a lot of efforts to modernize and reorganize the courses in government colleges. And that has led to about a 43% growth in student admission in the last 2 years, which is really unprecedented. He's also helped revise curriculum to include soft skills and employability skills as an integral part of the college curriculum. Biometric attendance, and then there is the DOST admission platform of Telangana for online admissions in colleges. It's one of the best in the country, and many states are looking to replicate that. Right. So he's single-mindedly focused on improving the quality and outcome of higher education and technical education. Thanks for being here, Mr. Mittal. We'll look forward to your comments on this. Thank you. Our next panelist is Vishnu Raju. Vishnu I've known for a long time, and so I take the liberty to say he's a very good gentleman. Not that the other panelists are not, but I know him very well to say that. Vishnu is into diversified set of fields. He's run right from cement companies to food companies, but his heart and soul, I think, is in the education space. He has the Vishnu Education Society, handling over 20,000 students across different streams, including engineering, polytechnic, pharmacy, dental, and management programs. He is, He's a chemical engineer by background, did his chemical engineering from Mitten Technology University, and then, of course, BTech from Trichy. He speaks several languages, English, Telugu, Tamil, which I just found out today, and Hindi. So if you have questions in Tamil, feel free. We have a panelist to address that. And he is a very active reader of books. So, he loves reading, and he also ensures that a lot of his team and his friends that he can tell are active readers. Thank you for being here, Vishnu.
Thank you, Ananth.
Our next panelist is Snehal Pinto, the founding family of the Ryan Group of Institutions, by far the largest school chain in the country.
A period in last century of human history. Global lockdown, and India, one of the strictest lockdowns seen anywhere in the world. And this has really disrupted many sectors, education being one of the important sectors which have been disrupted due to this lockdown. And I think what we are also seeing is a sort of a transformation which is happening. And I can tell you that there are a lot of negatives which have been associated due to this lockdown, which we have seen in the last 2 months and maybe in times to come. But there are also a lot of positive spin-offs which have happened in the education sector. And I can confidently tell you that the quantum of change which we are seeing both in the faculty and the students and in the way our institutions are working and going to work, we're seeing almost many years of change in a very short time. I mean, I can tell you about the government colleges and so the private colleges in Telangana, which I'm handling. We are seeing the adoption of technology, which probably would have taken many years to come, maybe 5 to 10 years. We have seen that kind of adoption in very short time. So this has really accelerated that change. And we are also seeing a lot of uncertainty around it due to the social distancing which is being practiced and which we might have to practice over the foreseeable future, because we are not really coming across a vaccine or a treatment for COVID in foreseeable time, in the sense at least it is going to take about a year or two to come. So till that time, we have to practice social distancing. And the way our educational institutions are right now, the classroom sizes and the environment which is there in educational institutions, it is going to be very difficult to practice social distancing when the institutions open up. And I think this is a problem which we are all grappling with. Some of the things which we have done in Telangana in the recent times, in the last few weeks, is at least make use of this lockdown to cover up the syllabus which could not be completed due to early closure of our colleges. So most of our faculty members have taken online classes. In fact, we've been monitoring on a day-to-day basis. And the fact says that almost 92% of faculty members have taken online classes, roughly about 2 to 3 lectures a day through various platforms, which is Google Meet or Microsoft Teams, or even many of them have used Zoom and some of the other platforms also. The student attendance also has been kind of growing. To begin with, it was very poor, but as the days passed, we saw the student attendance improving. So much so that our statistics show that almost 28 students were on an average attending a class, which is I would say not to the full extent, but it is almost like 50 to 60% of the enrollment which is there in a particular class, because general class size is about 60. So if you take 50 to 60 students in a particular class, I mean 28 average translates to almost 50 to 60%. So which is pretty good, because even in the colleges you see generally the attendance varies between 60 to 70%. Not every student comes to every lecture. So that has been a good part, but there is also a big digital divide which we are seeing, because especially students from poorer backgrounds and students who are in remote areas and rural areas, they do not have access to a device, whether a mobile phone, a smartphone, or a laptop, and many of them, even if they're owning, they're not having a very stable internet connection to connect online. So they have been kind of missing it. To some extent, we have been trying to bridge it by providing the recorded videos to them also, and also a lot of notes and teaching and learning material to them through email or through putting it in a particular site which they can access at their leisure. But I would say this has been unprecedented times.
Thank you, Mr. Mittal. That gives us a context for what we're going to talk about the rest of the sessions. I'll request Vishnu, just before you start, Vishnu, I want to say that there is a max of 1,000 attendees and they're maxed out. So I think if you have friends, colleagues that need to join, I would request that they go into a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. That information is probably published, and maybe we can put it on the screen as well. But over to you, Vishnu, for your initial address.
Thank you, Ananth, and good evening to all my fellow panelists, Mr. Navin Mittal ji and Dr. Snehal Pinto, and Ananth, of course. And I also like to thank Mr. Funny, Mr. Vamshi, and Mr. Navin for the support. It's indeed a privilege for me to attend this TIE talk. TIE is very close to me because the original founder of TIE was an alumni of Michigan Tech, Mr. Kanwal Rekhi. And so I have that connect also. I'm very honored to be here. I also welcome all the participants. I can see there are more than 1,000. I think we have maxed out the number of participants, and quite a few are already on YouTube and Facebook. So good evening to all the participants who have logged in from all corners of the world. And I hope you and your family members are all well and safe during this pandemic. Thank you, Ananth, for a good introduction. Basically, in a nutshell, I wear two hats. I very actively involved in higher education in the states of Telangana as well as Andhra Pradesh. I also run some manufacturing companies. So we have been very severely hit in all the sectors. Coming to higher education, today's topic, all of you may recall that 10 years back when we had these MOOCs coming into the picture like Coursera and Udacity, people thought that there'll be a great disruption in higher education. But that disruption has not taken place. A lot of reasons for that. How disruption has taken place due to technology in healthcare. Somehow higher education was spared. I don't think it has made a big impact. But now, thanks to this pandemic, and as Mr. Mittal said, if you look at the positive side to this, I think there's no other option for us but then to get on to online teaching learning. And there's a great opportunity, but it also comes with its own challenges. To substitute an experience, a student experience, the peer learning, peer interaction, a nice campus feel. Today, people are investing a huge amount on developing their campuses, student spaces, nice canteens, nice gyms, sports facilities. So the whole experience in higher education is something which online may not be able to replace, except for delivering technical content. I think that's the first challenge. The second challenge I see is how do we motivate our faculty? A person like me, if I had to teach a class, and my audience is all the younger students today, one very important thing what we have seen is, and as Mr. Mittal said, many of our colleges have transitioned. Sir, actually in PVRIT, Hyderabad and Narsapur, I think student attendance is about 80%. We're having a lot of issues in the rural areas, but I think reasonably well-attended classes. One thing what we're able to get feedback from the students is that how do we engage them? It's just not enough if they do a PowerPoint presentation, and it's very difficult to engage students who are remotely placed. So, of course, there are a lot of LMSs which are coming to the picture today, a lot of learning management systems, and I think Ananth also has got a beautiful system under SkillPro. The whole challenge is how do we actually make it attractive for the students to actually, how do we actually grab their attention? And just this morning, we were talking to some of our principals, and one thing which we came out, a very small thing, which I think all of you should maybe be aware, is that when a student asks a question or answers a question, or when there's an interaction between the faculty and the student, it's like a regular chat. It's a very closed-end chat. something which we were all used to typing in the 1990s when we were students. But today's students are more into social media. They're into Twitter, they're into Facebook, and whereas many of the faculty are not in tune, especially faculty of my age. So how do we actually change the look and feel on this online learning? How do we actually win over the students? I think that's a challenge. And I was just discussing with Ananth, there are some good platforms. There's a company called Course Networking, started by a fantastic Iranian professor in Indiana. And you can actually plug it into your LMS, any learning management system. And it actually, you can, things like hashtags and memes and all that, which are very, something which is very young today. The faculty also can actually interact with the students. So that's something which we're experimenting in. The second thing is, how do we motivate faculty? It's extremely important. And according to me, the key is to motivate faculty to actually make the content very interesting. It's not as simple as a classroom teaching. According to me, it's very, very tough, but it can be done. And there are a lot of resources online which are available. And I think this is the right time for the faculty to start engaging, especially in subjects like the core engineering subjects, medicine, dentistry, where a lot of lab activities there. It's very difficult for us to actually put that content online, even though there are simulation tools. So going forward, I would think that it will be a combination of online learning, plus there will be some kind of an interaction, which is very essential in higher learning. In many subjects, unless you go to a lab or a workshop, it becomes very difficult. I think this will be the future, but of course, it's very difficult for me to predict that. The other caution for higher education, because I'm sure today a lot of people who are the management people also maybe attending this webinar, what's going to happen in the fall session? Already we are seeing news in the US that they're predicting a huge drop in enrollments due to various reasons. Some universities are even talking about postponing the fall session to spring of 2021. And even though Mr. Mittal said that UGC and ASCT have given guidelines, unless there is an end to this pandemic, suppose there is a second spike coming up, I don't know what the situation is going to be in this country. We also need to be prepared for that. So in such a scenario, when students come to the campus with the available infrastructure, how do we maintain the social norms? Do we look at classes on alternate days? Do we have some students sitting at home, some students coming to class? I think these are all things which will evolve over a period of time. And as time goes by, I think definitely solutions will come. And I'm sure UGC and ASCT and Medical Council of India, Pharmacy Council, Dental Council, they're all working on this. And I think with this background, I think, Ananth, I have a lot of points to talk about, but I think just one final point, which may be of interest to a lot of people here. Just this morning on May 5th in the US, there is something called an NACAC, a National Association for College Admission Counseling. It's a membership of all colleges, and you can actually go online and see whether seats are available now for the coming fall session. And last year on May 5th, when this list was made public, typically it's made public on May 5th, and it's a coincidence that we are having a webinar also today. Last year at the same day, there were about 417 members who still had vacancies in their freshman year. Today, as we sit here, the number has crossed 600. Maybe this is an indication of things where the enrollments in higher education also might see a dip, especially when students have to go to different locations from away from their hometowns, staying in hostels, traveling in buses. So I think these are some of the challenges which we'll have to grapple with in the future. I think with this introduction, Ananth, I give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu. Very thoughtful things that we need to debate a little more, right from motivating teachers to engaging students to making e-learning an essential part of it, of day-to-day learning. We'll get more into that. Now I'll request Snehal to give her talk.
Thank you, Ananth, for this opportunity, and thank you to the organizers for this invitation. A good evening to my fellow panelists, Mr. Mittal, Mr. Vishnu, and to all listening in. I thank my Lord Jesus for this opportunity, and I am here today just representing a whole community of over 8,000 educators, over 100,000 or 200,000 stakeholders and more. But I'm here to submit our learnings. All right. So do I have the perfect solution? Maybe not. As you can see, all of us are grappling with questions more than answers and solutions. A lot of suggestions are there, but we need to find the solutions. But in the meantime, may I just say, I would like us to laud and appreciate the efforts put in by us as a nation. At the grassroots level. And I think these are real heroes, the ones who have been out there at the forefront, just doing what they have to do to get the job done. And that said, I'm grateful for our huge community of staff, both the technical, behind the scenes people, as well as our teachers, for making this journey navigable, if I may say so. I just, well, in terms of how have we responded as an organization, I just want to say what we have seen is in this time that is defined by change, inevitably, we realize, Toffler had said a few years ago, the illiterate of the 21st century won't be one who cannot read and write, but one who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that is what we are defined by now. A lot of us at different points of our careers and professional journeys have had to go through this. Learning new skills, unlearning old things and routines. And as a result, what we have seen is the new normal in place, really. How are we grappling? Are we grappling with it? No, we're feeling our way for sure, but I think we'll get there, because this 40-odd days have been almost like a warm-up exercise, if I may say so, for all of us to get ourselves embracing the new normal in education. And one of the things we saw was the role of the teacher undergoing a major change. No longer is she relegated to being the one who gives. She is now an active collaborator with the student community as well as with the parents. And so with the shared roles amongst the three stakeholders, we have seen shared responsibilities as well. In demographies, we serve different demographies across the region, 40 cities. Different things affect the dynamics of how we transact the curriculum. We have had to keep in mind the factors, one, we are at different points of the academic calendar year, as well as taking in consideration the economic background, socioeconomic backgrounds, where you have shared resources within the homes. So we have had to deal with all of that. One of the things we've seen is, as soon as we foresaw this in the making, that there is this likely to be a scenario that's going to be long term. One of the first things we did was extensive training for the staff, right from the heads to the teams, zonal teams, to the teachers. And what we identified in the meanwhile was our millennial teachers taking to technology just so smoothly. And as a result, they became teacher leaders, if I may say so, specialists, who then became kind of mentors to the others. There was like a resource team that moderated the new softwares, but they became the go-to people within their schools, within their branches on, listen, I've got this new software. What do you think about this? So, you got to try this app, or you got to try this extension. Don't go through the entire downloading of things. And it was a lot of peer learning took place at that level. Similarly, we took suggestions from, and our kids are, students are the biggest drivers of this change, really. As much as the accountability was on the teacher, especially for when they had to go live teaching on, oh my goodness, I'm going to be watched by so many people and their homes. Once the guards fell off, the higher accountability was on the kids themselves, because now they can't be how they are in the classroom, isn't it? In the classroom, you get through the little mischief here, you oversee those things. But at home, they have to be their perfect selves, because they're under watch. And we saw, while we were wondering about, well, are they going to pay attention or not? The kids really rose up to the occasion. We had a captive audience, but we also realized our lesson plans had to undergo major change in in being more creative. So also keeping in mind the health of the kids, screen time had to be limited. But we saw all of the strategies of flipped learning and all of those things, use of different softwares like Screencastify, all of those things just came in the play. But what we realized was teachers were being more creative in how they want to transact it. So once they appreciated the autonomy given to them, they kind of just ran with it, and that was helpful to us. So one of the first learning we had was the moment you allow a certain space for them to explore possibilities, you allow creativity, you allow innovation, and as a result they own it up, and that is what happened. They owned up their process of learning, both for the teachers as well as for the students. And as a result, we also saw parents having to play roles. So it was shared roles. Parents became more proactive, wanting to become an educator themselves, but then realized that they can facilitate the process. But if you have too many voices to the kids are going to be overwhelmed, and that is something where we realize there needs to be routines in place and structures in place that are defined, because if you're having a shared resource at home and a parent needs to be working, you need to understand. And that's why the teachers came in and owned this up and said, we're going to record our lessons, we're going to keep a chat room available just to do a Q&A and help them get through their courses. Thankfully, we were at the end of the academic year, and that helped. So that kind of helped, like a warm-up exercise on what's to come. How are we going to cope with the social distancing norm? Are you prepared? And those are the questions that are like flooding us, obviously. But I think one is definitely once we get the guidelines from our respective state departments across the state, obviously UNESCO has given guidelines, and they are the larger, broader framework that we want to keep in mind and go with it. I know the IB School Heads Network, are already doing their thing. The council, as well as the CBSE, and even the respective state boards are already putting forth they're developing their guidelines. I think once that is in place, the framework is in place, we're going to definitely go for a staggered reopening. But blended learning, the hybrid model, is definitely here to stay. And that is your new norm for teaching learning in the K-12 sector. However, they will have certain boundaries, because you want to keep in mind the health of the younger kids, the pre-primary and the lower primary kids, as well as the demographies that may not be able to have the ease of access to technologies. And that's why I think we're looking forward to more platforms that are going to be developed by technology providers like yourself, Ananth, if I may say so, to help, one, keeping flexibility in mind and enabling all of the solutions to be in one, if I may say, one place, not having to integrate, taking from here and taking from there, but having like an integrated ecosystem of sorts to cater to a diverse student community across the nation. So in short, this has taught the critical skills of adaptability as well as flexibility for our students, teachers, parent community as well. And in the near future, I think we will definitely need to review the pedagogical models. We'll definitely need to keep in mind one, because learning is going to be so much more personalized now, given the scope of e-learning options. We will have to revisit what we teach, because we now will have to flip it and ask, what do students really want to learn? Also, the employable skills. What are the credentials that they would need out there, and what are the skills that they'll need to have to go forward? Because like Sir said, Mr. Mittal said, there's unprecedented times, but this has also taught us that we are a resilient lot, and we will be resourceful in coming up with unusual solutions to this. So yeah, that's my 2-bit here. Thank you.
Snehal, thank you. Very insightful. And I think that you guys have done a fantastic job of acting so quickly on all the change that you're trying to bring about, and in fact allow the teachers to innovate. I'll just give my thoughts a little bit here. First of all, just to give you context, SkillPro is a e-learning solution provider. What we do is help schools and colleges immediately deliver training and allow students to be on their mobile, on their desktop, be accessing content. What we've seen is that a lot of schools are right now looking at it very quickly and saying, hey, I need to do live teaching. Is that my way? And some schools are saying, WhatsApps and let me say email downloads, so assignments are going up and down, etc. And we see that there is a lot of learning happening, but there is a lot of unstructured, immediate knee-jerk reaction that is happening. And we believe that this has to start getting structured. And I think that while in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it's about grappling to just give information to the student and for the teacher to enable certain lessons to be learned, some live classes to immediately happen. The whole thinking around how e-learning has to be delivered and how blended learning has to happen, hasn't yet happened in most schools. Right? That's that's where I see it. I think from the beginning, if you just go back to our history, I think we started as a training company and with centers all over the country and classroom training about 8-10 years ago. And slowly we said, no, we need e-learning tools because we are distributed, remote access, and we need to do that. And we need to do that in a simple and easy way. And we started to do that. And for 2-3 years, we did that. And we said, no, this is an e-learning solution is a very powerful solution for the students if we get it right. And if we are able to enable them, then enable schools and colleges. So actually, we then migrated to being a completely e-learning technology company. So really, our background comes from being a classroom-driven to complete technology. And we said this technology-based thing, we want to help every other school and college kind of get there. So I would say, we call our product Empower O. That's Empower O. And the whole idea is we fundamentally believe that colleges and schools and the teacher connect is an essential part of any kind of learning. So yes, there is solutions that say go to online, do a course, and if it's not teacher-led and campus-led, we believe that it serves a very small percentage of learners. Probably some adults learning online or some skill improvements, upskilling, etc. can be done. But fundamental education, if you look at colleges and schools, the teacher connect is an important and integral part. But what's happening with this, a lot of edtech firms, like the Byju's of the world, or the Coursera's, they're going courses at students, and we see 3% completion, 4% completion rates, which is very, very low. And if a school has that, those students would not continue in the school. So I think schools take it at a very, very different level. So our goal is how do we enable the school and the college to have the delivery mechanism that a Byju's or a Coursera provides, which is anywhere, anytime learning, high quality videos, content, tests, etc. But blend that very carefully with how the teacher wants to teach and the teaching pedagogy and the school's ability to manage the student. So I think schools have been slow to adopt this as a technology, but today it has completely fast-tracked it and said, let me get this and let me do that. So I want my student to have let me say, a Byju's kind of experience at home from a delivery standpoint, but I will tell them what content, what tests to do today, what homework to do today, and really manage the student interface. And without that connect, I think education is very hard to happen. So I'm a big believer that while e-learning is coming in, or in any way, it has to bend with college education and school education, and that is the only way that education can be fruitful. At the same time, I also believe that this is not a temporary situation where suddenly we're doing live classes and then after lockdown, guess what? Come back to school and everything goes on normal. I think Snehal said that, and Mr. Mittal said that. This blended learning is here to stay. That is the future. In fact, interestingly, Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, was talking about it yesterday, and he said, there are 10 things that are changing right now because of COVID, and he went on to list the 10 things. But 3 or 4 of them he mentioned as things that are in the COVID time. While COVID is there, these are the emergencies. And then the next 10 things, next 3 or 4 things he said is for the new normal, which is this is going to be as long as COVID is around and anti COVID drug is there and it's all gone from the society. These are the 3, 4 things that should go, and the immediate needs are masks and things like that. But even after that, some of the changes. But he said there's 2 things that this environment has speeded up, but is here to stay, and it should have actually been happening a long time ago. And that is, one is telemedicine, and second is e-learning. Right? These are here to stay. In what form, how, etc. It's a fast forward on them because of COVID, but it is not a temporary solution. So I think that's something that schools should grapple about, and schools and colleges. Since I'm in the e-learning.
Sorry, Ananth, if I may add to that, I think e-learning and blended learning will be credible if it is validated also, because if it is looked upon, I think the mindset and the perception also would need to change. If it is looked upon just as a supplementary a tool, an enabler to to help your formal convention of teaching learning within the physical classrooms, I think it's going to lose its. We are here, we are with it now, and I think the only way forward would be great if it could be accredited, validated with a certain criteria in place, because I think the whole nation is now just, especially in the schools, K to 12, I know they've just taken on, and I think this will be a welcome move if the authorities even consider that.
Absolutely. I think we'll get into some of this even more, but I think one of the things that have been asked to address is what key things should happen in order to integrate learning better with schools and colleges, right? Or integrate e-learning better with schools. I think, of course, you've talked about blended learning. That's very key. It's very important to empower the teachers and engage the students. The 2 things that Vishnu also addressed is that if the solution that you're thinking about cannot do those things, I think that would be a tool. So it cannot be a burden on the teachers. Today, trying to do WhatsApps and managing the WhatsApps and sending assignments and emails downloaded from my web. Come to the live class and then the notifications. That's a lot of let me say haphazard things happening. It has to be a structured learning environment. I think that's the first thing I would say. Second, as Mr. Mittal also pointed out, this has to be anytime, anywhere learning, and even the poorest of the poor should have access to it, which means absolutely it has to be mobile enabled. It has to be, let me say, computer enabled. It has to be TV enabled at some point. And so anybody should be able to learn wherever. And when I say learn, it's not some random content coming, but your teacher is telling you what content you're learning. They have validated it. They have ensured that what is learning for the day. And that's an important part. And I think that just like we're grappling with teachers adopting quickly enough, and the students definitely will go real fast. WhatsApp and all of these things went so fast. I would believe that students will adapt to digital learning very, very quickly. I think it's only the teachers that have to get it faster. And I've seen my daughters, something new was launched by their school, and by the end of day 1, they had no questions about how their classes are organized, when's the next session, how a live session is, how do they go do content, how homeworks are done, etc., etc. I think the key is in the content, and the school has to own that responsibility. Whether they get some external content or not, the school has to have that, and it has to follow the teaching pedagogy of the thing. I think also it's important to understand that while live learning, certain material is video is streamed, we don't get a full sense of how the student is taking it. And is he learning? Is he thinking? So things like, measurement of progress, assessments, being able to do that is all critical components of any kind of blended learning and solution. So I would say some of those things, I guess, are critical, and we are looking to, we believe we address some of these, and we are looking to address more and more needs as we identify them. That's where I would stop, and I would probably start to request the moderators, to the panelists, to kind of address a few other topics that that would be key. Student-centric learning has to continue, and engagement is significant. Now, it'll be nice to hear from any of you some of the initiatives you've taken where you've seen high engagement. I think Vishnu, you mentioned one, Mr. Mittal mentioned one, where where you're able to get students actively engaged with the learning that's happening. The scores getting better, or the the acceptance of digital learning getting better. If you have any specific instances that you can talk about that other schools and colleges can understand from.
Yes, Ananth, actually, we started an initiative 3 years back called Vedic in Hyderabad. It's basically a teaching learning center. It's a campus exclusively built for our faculty, because across our group we have close to 1,800 faculty, and mainly on improving the pedagogy. One very good thing which happened was adoption of online teaching learning almost 2.5 years back. Now that has come in very handy for us. And almost all our faculty come here. They stay for 4 days. It's a residential facility. It's very close to the Chilkur Balaji temple. And we have a very eminent faculty who have come back from abroad, Purdue University, Indiana University, and mainly cognitive scientists. We have psychologists. We have people obviously from different domains. And that has really helped us. So one good initiative, Ananth, which I'd like to maybe tell everyone here, is our dental college. You will be surprised that the dental college has adopted technology much faster than any of the engineering colleges. 3 years back, they realized that in a class of 100, because typically the dental council recommends a class size of 100 for BDS. It's very difficult actually, even in a brick and mortar classroom, to communicate to 100 students and to effectively sort of monitor their performance. So our director and principal, along with the Vedic team, they designed a very good program. Today, the end result is, about 2 years back, this was rolled out. Each and every student has a tab, an Apple tab. All the faculty have tablets. Entire content is delivered through the Apple tablets. A lot of, modeling, a lot of scientific content is already available. In addition to that, faculty deliver a lot of content. All the patient data, clinical data, everything is actually being put on the tabs. So today, they are quite comfortable, even though they're sitting at home. The classes are going on very seamlessly. And we have 25 dental hospitals running in the Godavari districts, run by the college. Even that data is actually put on the tab. So that is one way I think technology has been adopted, and Apple actually has showcased this. Even in the UK, they're showing it to their colleges there, how actually you can use technology to actually connect with the students. But I also agree with Ananth and with Dr. Snehal that it should be a combination of both. It can't be just the Apple iPads itself. They need mentors, they need people, they need guides, they need that peer learning. All that is very, very important. One step lower, we have an FM radio in our Bhimavaram campus, and we're using the FM radio right now. As we said also, every day in the morning and evening, classes are being conducted for the MSET coaching as well as for the NEET coaching. And radio is something which is very, it's a low-cost device, so receivers are there in all the rural areas, and we serve the rural areas there. So these are basically some of the examples in technology, but the most important thing I would, 2 things I want to mention here, especially since I'm coming from higher education and with an engineering background. Sometimes engineering faculty, including me, we are very cut and dry. We come directly to the point. We talk about equations, we talk about mathematics, we talk about a lot of abstract stuff. I think the faculty should learn a lot of storytelling. And they have to make a story around any engineering concept. And we've actually seen some very good outcomes coming out of that. We see students, we don't have to force students to come to some of the faculty's classrooms. A same simple subject, instead of directly coming to the point as an engineer does, if we can evolve some kind of a story around it, create a situation, then conceptually a lot of these things actually make a big mark. And I think even the MHRD today in the new document, the National Education Policy on Higher Education, they are insisting on a lot of arts and humanities courses to be included along with the technical education. I think this is something which I want to tell. The second important thing, maybe a little bit I'm digressing, these are times of a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. For whatever we are optimistic and we are actually being very positive, a lot of students and faculty are quite nervous what is going to happen. For example, what about the students who got job offers now? Will these companies recruit them? That is one area. Second, can I go back to college in fall? What about the future of the college? If the college is closed, they don't run for like 7-8 months. So what we have done in our campuses, we have, these are all residential campuses, we have full-time psychologists there. We have a psychology department. And what we have seen and what our principals tell us, in the last 1 month, maximum number of calls are going to our psychologists from our students. And I think that is something which I could like to share with all the panelists here and also with the people attending this webinar. In your respective colleges, institutions, I think it's very important that we need to counsel our students, the parents, faculty. And I highly recommend that all the institutions should have a full-time psychologist, maybe a psychology department, to actually tackle these issues. So I just thought, Ananth, I should share some of these practices.
Sure, absolutely helpful. I mean, there are learnings that others can use to see how they can implement such solution. We have a question next for Mr. Mittal. I think that online classes are the thing, and there are a lot of students without computers and phones and internet. That is one part of the question. So how does government look at it? But the second is, what in your view, from a government policy standpoint, need to be, let me say, implemented in order to, or a policy that should come out in order to better facilitate this new normal of e-learning, right, as part of programs. That would be helpful just to get your perspective on those two.
Yeah, Ananth. So there are two parts to it. One is basically to tackle this crisis. I mean, short term, what to be done. I don't think there is any further easy solution. The idea is basically to go online and utilize all the means which are possible to reach out to the students. So one is directly live classes, which are through some of the platforms I talked about during my initial address, and then students who are not able to make it, I mean, provide them some material offline, which they can access whenever they want it. But I think going forward, as my co-panelists have said, I think the future is of one is blended learning in our campuses, and two is purely online learning for those who do not choose to come to the campuses. I mean, I'll just kind of give my detailed thoughts on this. What I mean by blended learning is, in the sense, going forward, the role of information per se in our classrooms is going to decrease, because information is available. I mean, for information, a teacher need not write on the board or show slides to provide the information. Information is something which students can actually get on their own through many of these platforms. So I think classrooms have to become more of discussions and analytic kind of classrooms where you actually discuss on issues and imbibe some of this learning, and rather than being a pure information providing place. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. There is an entity called Spoken Tutorials in IIT Mumbai. So there is this group which does a lot of e-learning and online learning. Professor Kanan, who's a good friend of mine, is handling that. So in one of our interactions, he was mentioning that they're conducting these programs, which our government college is also participating. But he was telling experience that there was one college in Gujarat where they found some very brilliant results. I mean, something like 95+% pass rates and some excellent performance. So they really wanted to check how they're gaming the system, whether there is some hanky-panky which is happening there, or what really is the reason for good performance there. And when they actually went and checked, they found that there was a very motivated teacher who was showing their lecture through a video in the classroom, and then mathematics or basic English or basic science. They don't have those levels in 5th or 6th grade, which a 2nd or 3rd grade student would have. So the question is that, do we really need these grades according to the age which they are, or do we need to really segregate students according to the learning levels? So that is something I think which we have to grapple in the future. And from government side, I can tell you very confidently that there's a lot of dynamism which I find in last couple of years. For example, both UGC and DICT have been very, very proactive in bringing some of these latest technologies into our classrooms. UGC allows 20% of your credits to be obtained through MOOCs, and even AICT does that. I mean, so student really doesn't have to do the courses which are offered in their college or their university, but they can actually go on to platforms like SWAM or other MOOC platform and then get 20% of their credit. So I think government has been pretty proactive in this regard, and going forward, we are going to see a lot of transformation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mittal. One thing I would say is, it's new to all of us, the whole e-learning, and so every school seems to think that it's a very complex problem to solve. It's actually not. As people who have done this for a while, we feel like it's not a very hard thing. We've had a scenario where a school was doing with WhatsApps, a lot of email interaction, download from the web, do the homework, and when this COVID thing happened, they said, hey, how can we now streamline to do that? And literally, we could empower them in like 4 days, get their content on it, get their students on it. Students were using it on the mobile who had it. People are using it on the laptop that had it. And literally by the 7th day, we had 100% of students completely involved and engaged into that.
In the hard component, as the brick and mortar of building schools and furniture in the schools or salaries of the teacher, I think increasingly governments will have to invest on providing an access to a device to every child who chooses to come to government school. I mean, at least to begin with. There's probably no other solution long-term way but this, because education is increasingly going to be more and more personalized. And I think, as I mentioned, getting information is something which a student actually can do on his own. I mean, he doesn't need to spend time in a classroom to obtain information, and classrooms should be more about analytics and discussions and imbibing the learning. Secondly, a lot of evaluation has to become kind of personalized. So with that, what I mean is that a student should be able to have the assessment tests which are personalized according to what they have imbibed from that learning. So the present assessment standards or present assessment techniques which we have are very, very rote learning and cramming oriented techniques, which really
faculty on what best to improve, and they can also be the ambassadors to the next batch of students to how to adopt to this teaching online method. I think I thought I should share this with you.
Snehal, do you see any issues for students, especially the younger ones, spend a good amount of time on the mobile or a laptop or a TV to get this education going, right? I mean, the question was more, is there any, let me say, psychological / device time kind of issues that you foresee? Because this is here to stay, and please go ahead.
So, like I said earlier while I was speaking, I think we need to bear in mind that the role of the teacher has essentially changed. And just alluding to what Mittal sir said earlier on, the teacher is now not just a content creator, she's a collaborator. And classrooms will now become more spaces to connect the dots, if I may say so. The role of the teacher is to enable the student to connect the dots between what is learned and what is out there in the real world, and actually create space and ground to breed innovation and help them become critical thinkers and problem solvers.